This is a pretty cool looking speaker, but how does it sound? Let's find out. Dave Taylor here, and I'm checking out this. This is the Crave Curve portable Bluetooth speaker. As you can see, it is curved, and it's actually a really nice design. It's also made out of aluminum, so it has a really nice feel to it with solid buttons. There's a lot to like on the physical characteristics here, but of course, with any of these devices, it's all about the sound. But before we get to the sound, let me tell you some of the specs. So, has dual drivers, it's 20 watts, 10 times 2, and it puts out 90 to 20,000 hertz frequencies. So there's not a ton down at the bottom level, but mostly we can't hear anything below about 50 or 60 hertz anyway. So often you'll see 20 to 20,000 hertz. This is 90 to 20,000 hertz. So there's a little bit less of the super low bass, but we'll get back to that when we actually audition it. Now, one thing you might not realize when you look at it is it has built-in microphones, so you can use it as a speakerphone. We'll test that too in just a minute. Battery-wise, it's a 2,000 milliamp hour battery, which gives you 10 hours of playback. Just as important is it has auto shut-off, so I have to get back to music pretty quickly or it's going to turn off and I'll have to turn it on and pair it again, which is not a huge hassle, but I like that it has the auto shut-off so you don't have to remember, oh, did I turn off the speaker or is it going to be dead? They got you covered with that. Aluminum construction, it's kind of ancient with Bluetooth 4.2, and the charging's even more ancient. On the back, there is a charging port for a micro USB. This is the first micro USB device I've seen in a while. USB-C is far more common. I assume the next gen will have that. It does have 3.5 millimeter AUX in, which is great. You can plug this in right underneath your computer monitor, for example, and you've got a nice little sort of like micro soundbar for music or videos or TV that you might want to stream or something. So that's nice. On the top, there are 4 buttons. There's power, pause, play, and then volume down and volume up. And they, of course, have multiple functions. That's how they work. So let's get some music going. So I'm going to start with this. And I'm going to point it at me so you can get a little bit more hearing. And I'm going to turn the volume up. And it's decent enough. I mean, there's not a lot of depth to the music reproduction, but it's entirely functional. I put this on and was jamming some old 80s rock and just walking around the house, and it was plenty loud enough. There's not a lot of treble. Their bass is sort of a thumpy bass. Let me pause this. But I will say it's very reactive to the EQ settings on your phone or your audio source. I'm using an iPhone 14 Pro, so I just went into Music EQ and made some adjustments, and it was pretty startling how much difference it made. I would recommend you use this in flat or EQ off mode, which to me gives you the best overall response across the frequencies. But you might like a lot more bass, so put on loudness and then turn the volume up 1 notch. Easy enough. So there's that, and the music is good, but now let's go to voice. Let me see if I can get this to work. So I go to voice. We're going to turn on screen recording so you can see what I see. And I haven't tested this, so we'll just see how this works. Now you're hearing my voice as picked up by the Crave Curve portable Bluetooth speaker, and you can see I'm a pretty typical distance from it, but if I get a lot closer, it's going to get louder, and if I get a lot further away, then it's going to sound a little softer. So probably the sweet spot is somewhere around it. But what do you think of the audio quality? It's not actually that bad for voice pickup as a sort of secondary capability of the speaker. Now, let me pause the audio. And so that's pretty much all the functionality. Obviously, you want to know things like the dimensions. So I'll tell you, it's 7.9 inches by 2.4 inches by 2.4 inches. And it's a little heavy at 2 pounds or thereabouts. But that's also a lot because of the battery and because speakers have weight because you need to have magnets in them to help reproduce that sound. Now, one thing that they don't include, which I wish they did, is an IP rating. So I have no idea if this is water resistant or waterproof or whatever. So lacking that information, I think the safe assumption is that you really need to baby this thing and make sure it never gets wet. If you're going to use it outside, totally fine. It's a Bluetooth portable wireless speaker. But if it starts to rain or something, cover this thing up because we just don't know. And finally, in the box, very nicely designed box, it also includes a micro USB to USB-A charging cable, pretty important, and a little teeny tiny user guide, which is plenty enough to get you started. So that's really everything. I think that for its price point, this is actually a pretty nice speaker. It's a very elegant looking speaker that's going to be really attractive on any desk or any table or stuck in a corner in the kitchen or something. So lots to like here. You know, the sound reproduction is okay, but at its price point, it's actually pretty typical. So if you get this, and if you want to get the best possible sound reproduction, what I would recommend is play around with your EQ settings to get the best possible results. So, hope that was helpful. Now, let's talk about the price. But before we get to the price, I'm going to ask if you could subscribe to my channel. Go ahead and click on subscribe and give me a like or a thumbs up if you found this helpful, useful, interesting, whatevs. I really appreciate that. Cool. This is the Crave Curve portable Bluetooth speaker, and it's $59.99 at Amazon.com. So for about $60, this is a nice speaker. I would say they put just as much effort into the design, which is nice because a lot of speakers on the lower end kind of look junky, but this one's very elegant. They could easily have an Apple logo on it, and you would think this was an Apple product. It's that level of quality and engineering. And the sound is okay. So that's all I got. I'm going to go back to my music, so I'll have to catch you in my next video.